Attention everyone! Before you start watching this video, make sure you catch up on the first chapter of our story. It's crucial for understanding the characters and plot, and it'll enhance your viewing experience. Trust me, it's a must-watch. So go check out the first chapter, come back here and buckle up for an amazing journey. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts. Enjoy the continuation of our thrilling story. As he jumped over the wall, Sharon nervously approached the group sitting under the tree, consisting of the headmaster Milch Alpias and his students. As he drew closer, one of the students spoke up. "Principal, he isn't a noble, and I think he's just a lonely commoner." Another student quickly chimed in, "Hey, you can't come in here! Get out!" All of the students were from noble backgrounds and believed that the academy was exclusively for the nobility. The students' shouting emphasized their disapproval of Sharon's status as a commoner and their belief that he didn't belong in their space. The worried expression on their faces was a mix of surprise and disdain. Sharon's heart pounded in his chest as the students caused a sudden uproar, but Headmaster Milch Alpias remained calm and collected, his reassuring presence putting Sharon at ease. Emitting a gentle chuckle, the headmaster dismissed the commotion and beckoned Sharon to approach. "It's fine, so come on over here," he said, his voice carrying a soothing tone. Fixing his gaze upon Sharon, he posed a question with a smile. "What part of what this old man said convinced you to come?" Sharon looked at him with wide eyes, a deep longing in his heart. I want to see magic," he said, his voice filled with excitement and hope. The headmaster chuckled. "Ha ha! Have you never seen magic before?" he asked. Sharon's expression turned to worry. "No, I've only read about it in books. I've never seen it in person." The students jeered, calling Sharon a liar and mocking him for saying he could read, scoffing at the idea that a commoner like him could read. After all, in their world, poverty often equated to illiteracy. But Sharon wouldn't be deterred. "It doesn't matter what kind of magic it is. Please, I beg of you," he implored. Despite the students' objections, Headmaster Milch Alpias paid no mind to their comments and chuckled, saying, "It's really no big deal. Let me show you the magic of wind." As the students watched in awe, Headmaster Milch Alpias raised his hand and a gust of wind swirled around him. Sharon, who had never seen magic before, was skeptical. "Wind? How can wind be magic?" he wondered to himself. But before he could finish his thoughts, a sudden blast of wind lifted all the students off the ground, carrying them higher and higher into the air. Sharon's heart pounded as he found himself soaring through the sky, unable to control his movements. The other students, however, were having the time of their lives, whooping and cheering as they tumbled through the air. But their joy was short-lived, as the wind abruptly died down and they began to plummet back to the ground. Sharon tried to steady himself, flailing his arms in a desperate attempt to regain his balance. But it was no use. He was hurtling towards the earth head first, his mind racing with fear. "I'm going to crash," he thought frantically as he covered his face with his hands. As Sharon fell towards the ground, he braced himself for impact, but suddenly he heard the unmistakable sound of laughter. Confused, he peeked through his fingers and found himself floating in midair. Looking around, he saw the students and the headmaster doubled over with amusement. "How was it?" Headmaster Milch Alpias asked, still chuckling. "This is what magic is all about." After being set down, Sharon was in awe of what he had just experienced. He had witnessed magic, and it was an enchanting experience like no other. Filled with a newfound sense of curiosity, he asked the headmaster, "Magic, what is it?" The headmaster pondered for a moment before attempting to explain. Let's see, magic is, for example..." But Sharon interrupted, cutting him short with a shout. "It doesn't matter how you explain it, just tell me exactly what it is." The students were taken aback by Sharon's disrespectful tone towards the headmaster, whispering to each other in shock. "Did you hear that? Such insolence towards the headmaster? Not even teachers can speak to him like that." Headmaster Milch Alpias's face twisted into a scowl, his frustration evident. But as he looked into Sharon's eyes, his expression softened. He saw the glint of curiosity in the young boy's gaze and couldn't help but feel a flicker of interest himself. Letting out a chuckle laced with a hint of sarcasm, he said, "Then let me speak in some difficult terms. Magic is something that surpasses logic. In other words, it's a mental activity that explores the truth of a phenomenon. If it's too hard... But Sharon interrupted him, saying, "It's an illogical phenomenon, but maybe because of that it makes it closer to the truth?" Sharon's answer left all the students and the headmaster in shock. Headmaster Milch Alpius burst into uncontrollable laughter due to Sharon's response, and asked, "Was that written in the books too?" To which Sharon replied, "No, I found a common point in the books. A lot of famous people's thoughts were made fun of at first for not being normal, but they eventually accepted it as the foundation of new logic." Sharon was fully engrossed in his quest to understand the nature of magic. Continuing his thought, he said, "So I thought, maybe the truth is hidden the unusual." Headmaster Milch Alpius nodded in agreement with Sharon's statement, leaving the students bewildered. Sharon inquired of the headmaster, "How can I learn magic?" The headmaster gazed at Sharon, silently musing to himself. He is a wise child, so he wants to research it on his own by collecting accurate information, even though it's difficult. Does he really believe he can do it? But unfortunately, he's a commoner. The headmaster spoke with conviction. "Instead of a detailed explanation, I should show you a demonstration." He called upon a student. "Shaman, head into the spirit zone." The student replied with a confident face, "Yes, headmaster." Sharon's curiosity was piqued as he watched the exchange between the headmaster and Shaman. He had never heard of the spirit zone before and was intrigued by what it could be. Shaman's confident reply only added to the mystery. "I've entered the zone," she announced with conviction. Headmaster Milch Alpius then posed a challenge to Shaman, asking her to guess how many coins he held in his hand. Without hesitation, Shaman confidently replied, 6. The headmaster confirmed that she was correct and revealed the coins in his hand. Sharon couldn't believe what he had just witnessed and wondered how it was possible. When a mage focuses, the mind becomes so sensitive that they can sense everything around them. Headmaster Milch Alpius paused for a moment, and then he took some of the coins and hid them in his hand before continuing. Skilled mages can even sense the number of leaves on the ground from far away. This is the extremely sensitive mindset spirit zone. As he finished his explanation, Shaman, who had been intently focusing, suddenly spoke up. "Now there's 3, sweat forming on her face. Mages in the zone can sense the outside world in an extrasensory way," the headmaster explained, his voice filled with a sense of wonder, "and control the phenomenon." He then revealed the 3 coins as Shaman confirmed her guess. Sharon was amazed by the demonstration, his mind racing with new ideas. The coins weren't counted, he thought to himself. The situation in front was sensed as a whole. Then maybe I... But before he could finish his thought, Headmaster Milch Alpius spoke up again. "Anyone can do it. Practice in a quiet place. First feel yourself, then erase." Headmaster Milch Alpius thought to himself, "Anyone can do it, but not everyone can do it." He then turned to Sharon and asked, "If you can do that, then a new world will open. Do you understand what I said?" Sharon then said, "Because if you can't feel yourself, erasing yourself would also be impossible." Headmaster Milch Alpius was impressed by Sharon's understanding and smiled. He then said to Sharon, "Will you try it? Here." As Sharon was focusing on entering the spirit zone, Headmaster Milch Alpius thought to himself, "Anyhow, if he can't go into the spirit zone, he won't be able to learn magic itself." Sharon, deeply absorbed in his task, concentrated on entering the spirit zone. He contemplated, "Feel what is me? What is me? Brain? No, that's a body part. The senses and reality I feel cannot escape the idea of a brain. Instead of defining it, feel it. Erase the things that I feel are me. One by one. The existence of myself isn't becoming sensitive. Only my mind is..." As Sharon opened his eyes, Headmaster Milch Alpius eagerly asked, "How is it? What did you feel?" Sharon, exhausted and covered in sweat, managed to utter, "Sound. I heard all the sounds." The other students, overhearing his response, couldn't contain their skepticism. "If you stand still, of course as you hear sound." Laughter followed their remarks. Meanwhile, Headmaster Milch Alpius quietly contemplated, "Is it just as I thought? He can't? The things that happen in the spirit world are in another dimension. It's the synesthesia of smell from sound, the taste of light, and the shape of the surrounding scenery." The headmaster walked over to Sharon, gently patting his head and praising him. "Good work. If you continue to put in effort, you'll be able to hear even more sounds." As they all walked back towards the school, Headmaster Milch Alpius addressed his students. "That concludes our special class for today. Let's make our way back to the school." Sharon stood there silently, watching as Headmaster Milch Alpius and the other students walked away. Unbeknownst to Sharon, the headmaster had a mix of thoughts swirling in his mind. "How unfortunate," he mused to himself. "He is a kid with talent. If that child was a noble and trained from a young age, wouldn't he have had similar achievements as these children? But there are too many talented kids in the world." Sharon scaled the wall and leapt to the other side. As his feet touched the ground, he couldn't help but wear a look of sheer disbelief. He whispered to himself, "It really worked." His face displayed a mixture of astonishment and disbelief, struggling to comprehend the reality of his successful feat. Thank you so much for watching the second chapter of our captivating story. We hope you enjoyed this installment and that it left you eager for more. Stay tuned for the next chapter and don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave your comments below. Your support means the world to us. Until next time, happy storytelling.